Hi everyone. Today I'm going to be walking through how I deploy what I call the Unified Language Intelligence System with AWS. It's a serverless web application that lets users input text in any kind of language, automatically detect which type of language it is, and translate it into English. And then it will classify by theme and extract the key phrases and named entities all in real time. So what does this project accomplish in a little more detail? It'll classify the text into general themes using Hugging Face. So Hugging Face was used to generate an API token and is useful for classification based on conversational themes. It also extracts key phrases and named entities through AWS Comprehend, which is a policy I'll go into later. It caches and logs each translation and analysis and provides a user-friendly front end with dynamic history browsing. So the services I used, there were various ones. I use Amazon S3 to host static front-end websites so I could use, so sorry, I can upload my source code to the bucket, my HTML files, my JavaScript, CSS, and my Amazon CloudFront was used to distribute front-end securely over HTTPS. So I selected HTTP to con traffic to convert to HTTPS for security reasons since it was public. I use the Amazon API Gateway to handle RESTful API calls to the backend. AWS Lambda was crucial. It was obviously the main backend function for processing my text. It will interact with DynamoDB for caching. Amazon Comprehend was a language detection and also had named entity recognition, so it was useful for key phrases. And obviously Amazon Translate will translate it to English. DynamoDB was for cache results and storing user history. And I used IAM to manage permissions for Lambda to access the services. I didn't want to use my root account. I actually used my root account first, and I thought it was not the best idea for security reasons because it's also public. So that's why I redid everything in through the IAM account. And that way it's a more of a seamless UI as well. So I'll give a quick overview of the sort of natural process of the project. I've attached a document for a very detailed way to simulate what I've done already. So I define all the services in AWS instructions there and services at length. So I'm not going to go over every single little detail because I don't think anyone would want to sit through that right now. So I first set up a DynamoDB table called language analysis cache history with input text hash as the partition key and request timestamp as the sort key. I also added a global secondary index to query historical entries efficiently by timestamp. And I also made an IAM role with permissions where you can see the basic instructions. Let's see here. Yeah, AWS Lambda basic execution role to comprehend read only and translate read only. These were policies that need to be added before I could generate the role itself. Then it also has a custom inline policy for DynamoDB access, which I had to add in order to query input. So for the Lambda backend setup, I made a Lambda function called language Lambda function using Python, and I attached the previously made IAM role. And I needed to add a Lambda layer for the results library to support HTTP calls to the Hugging Face, which I did with a token and also put which region I was in. And this also increased the memory and timeout to support any external API latency. So like more increased memory. 3 seconds was not enough. That was a default, and I needed like a minute in case for translation purposes. And this is also where I put my backend code, where I had to paste it in the layer as well. And here's my important parts here for the front end index, style, and my JavaScript here. And this is all added anyway in the email. Um, so for the API, I made a language analysis API where I had two routes, post and processed. Obviously to process a new input and then get history to retrieve any paginated history. It's a request. And I integrated both routes with the Lambda function, and I needed to enable cores um, in order to let the front end even call the back end in the first place. And it also ensured that CloudFront domain was the only allowed origin. And finally, we have the front-end hosting with the S3, or uploaded my static source front-end source code, basically HTML, CSS, etc., to the S3 bucket. And I enabled static website hosting on the bucket and set public access permissions where you have to update the S3 bucket policy after generating your CloudFront distribution, which you have to do manually, and that took a little while to realize. Then the CloudFront distribution will point to the S3 bucket. This is my S3 bucket here. And then distribution itself has origin access identity, and like I said earlier, security for HTTPS enforcement. And my default role will obviously be the index HTML. And after deployment, I finally access the app via the CloudFront domain, which I will finally open up here. I just simply copy it, paste it, remove this. So here is the interface where you can analyze text, and history will have like just old inputs I gave it, and I'll just show you how it works. Show you the accuracy. I'll just put something simple first. At first, I just wanted to, because obviously it's English, I wanted to just classify it as English. Then I'll switch it up to some different language. So, yep, uh, Lambda checking the cache, classifies the language as English. It's a key phrase, today, and then I'll put the entities here with the API token, and then identify the themes as well. Like, it's clearly the question mark showing it's a question, feedback, expects feedback, basically. Uh, put some Italian in there. Same thing will happen a little faster this time. Because, of course, yeah, I checked the cache, so maybe I should put a different input instead. Yeah. Second. Okay. Detected it was Polish. Thank you for a wonderful quarter. It was accurate, positive experience here. And we can obviously do more, but I'll show you the history as well. This is me doing it earlier using Mandarin and French. So just final notes here. Just every component is serverless, like I said, so it's very scalable and low cost, easy to maintain because AWS makes it so. You can continue further by adding new classification models or UI features. You can even plug in Bedrock or Amazon Comprehend Custom, which I thought about doing for more specialized natural language processing. I knew about everything I use in this product because I had to study for the CCP, but actually going in and using them made me learn about their features. So I was glad to do this project and especially work with NLP and learn about associated relationships with the services and their implementations even more. And I was glad to struggle with it. So thank you for the informative quarter and also for a couple things I can add to my resume. I appreciate it. I'll stop this here.